What's going on, guys? Today is January 17th. It's a Friday. It's a beautiful day today. Let's make some profits. To start off the day, I'm gonna open up my daily quote sheet. Also, let's see. All right, I'm gonna go over my reminders today before I enter any trade or even look at the market. So this is my criteria that I have right here. Let me go ahead and just close this and zoom in so you guys can see it a little bit better. So this is my reminder sheet, and I came up with this acronym to avoid trading mistakes called avoiding HOPE. And HOPE is standing for holding on to losers, guys. This is a huge one. These will break your confidence. These will break your capital. It's just not good. It's the worst. Over trading out of boredom, all right? So if I'm later in the day, if I'm not doing anything, I need to have self-control to be able to not take a trade if it doesn't meet my criteria. Also, I'm going to avoid trying to predict the market and just react to what it's going to show me. All right, just be patient. P can also stand for patience. You got to have patience, but these are things that you need to avoid, right? And then also, we want to avoid emotionally driven choices while we're in the markets, okay? It's not about the money that I'm making or where I see myself. It's about success, and it's about the discipline of becoming better, right? So the first rule is the market doesn't care about my emotions or hopes. My edge comes from my disciplined execution, right? This comes from following my strategy, things like that. All right, and protecting my capital is priority number one. Small losses are part of long-term success. Success is measured by sticking to your process, not by the outcome of a single trade. Right? My job is to execute my strategy, not to predict or control the market. Instead of trying to beat the market, aim to flow with it. Your ego doesn't need to be right, your account needs to grow. Number 4 is, if I'm not in the right mindset, I'll step away and wait for clarity. Okay, and winning and losing trades don't define me. Discipline does. Don't fight the chart when the market is showing what it's doing, right? Avoid guessing when a trend will reverse. Instead, wait for confirmation. Avoid a biased approach in trying to predict what is going to happen. Pause and ask yourself, is this an emotional decision or is the market structure truly indicating a reversal? Let the chart show me what is going on. When the answer is clear, enter the trade based on what the market is showing me, not what I think it will do. All right? The minute I fail to correctly observe what the market is showing me is the minute I become a loser in trading, okay? So we have to always be observing and also be disciplined, okay? Feel good about sticking to my risk and getting stopped out. It's not the end of the world. If price invalidates my risk, never, never, never hold on to a losing trade past my defined risk. Letting a loser run will ruin me as a trader, okay? So these are my 10 rules and also my acronym right here to better me as a trader. I'm going to review these every single day. So let's just keep this open. Let's see. Open this here. Sorry, guys. Let me just do this little menu right here. And then I'm going to close my Airbnb and messages. Let's open TradingView. All right, you guys are seeing exactly how the process is done every single day. Let's get back into SPY, and let's just start marking out our levels here. It looks like we are getting some momentum to the downside. Here is our 935 low right here, and then our high is going to be up here, but we are going to wait for 945. Okay, guys? And we also have a lot of momentum coming in from early in the morning. Okay, you can see all this momentum coming in from the pre-market. Let's just go into a 15-minute real quick to get some more clarity of what's going on the higher time frames. As you can see, we are in more of a bullish direction now. As you can see also on the daily of SPY, that we are starting to, let's reset this chart. We're starting to break out of the DTL. I'm also going to add the DTL just so it's there. And let's go back to a 3. So as you can see, this was our DTL point right here where we broke out of the downward trend line. Let's get rid of this too. All right, as you guys can see, we're coming down here to, it looks like break the 5-minute low, which we just did. Very little buyers stepping in despite how much momentum that we have. All right, we're gonna be on a 3-minute time frame today, guys. The 1 minute is just too messy. I tend to make more emotional decisions on the 1 minute, where if I'm waiting for the 3 minutes to close, I tend to just think better and also just be more patient. And also down here, guys, I'll talk about this. I'll make another video about the DI and the ADX, the directional index. I'm using this indicator as essentially as a way to show me when the potential move could occur. So when these cross, there tends to be a move to the downside, and what I did is I custom made this script so that when these events do occur below the moving average, it allows me and plots an arrow. But the only time that this is valid is if price is closing below the moving average and it's telling me to get in, right? I don't just follow this blindly, okay? That's very important. All right, so I do see a lot of, pent up imbalance over here. So I wouldn't be surprised if we traded down here, guys. But like I said, I'm not gonna go into the market with any biased approach. I'm just gonna try to see and talk about what I'm seeing. All right, so I am seeing a pinching of the, obviously here, and I'm also seeing that we're not making a solid close on the 3-minute below the 5-minute low. And you guys can see why I kind of stick to a, let's get rid of this. And let's just close that and make this a little bit bigger. So keep my rules over here just so I don't miss it. And I wanted to show you guys what I was talking about on the 1 minute. You see here, it's just a little bit messy, and also this tends to be a little bit more messy. It looks like we are starting to roll potentially back up. All right, let's just check on also the heat map and see what else is potentially moving. Let's just get rid of these. I don't want to see what's not really moving. So a lot of tech today. We got Intel and Palantir. Tesla's moving today. A couple of transportations down, but nothing too crazy today, I see. So let's just check on Tesla real quick, right? Because Tesla really drives the entire market, or at least the indexes. We're trading back into the range on Tesla. As you can see, it was a failed break. All right, so you see, guys, why it's really, really important to wait patiently. Okay, this would have been our 5-minute high right here, and as you can see, we quickly, this is important to take note of as we close below. Okay, and this would be a not valid entry. Okay, let's go back to SPY. All right, focus on what we know best. All right, let's get off the 1 minute too. As you guys can see, it looks like we are starting to make a potential move to the downside. I do see that the moving averages are starting to roll, but I just want to be kind of cautious about taking a move to the downside because we have these imbalances here. And also there is a ton of liquidity, sitting up here that we could trace back down to grab. As you can see, we're starting to get a pretty big body candle, but we want to wait for this candle to close, right? And when a 3-minute candle, guys, is doing these wicking motions, that's essentially telling you that the 1 minute is like chopping around, right? So we want to avoid getting into any trades when there's like a range like this, right? This is how you get stopped out. The worst thing to do, guys, is to get a bias in the range and try to predict what's going on in the range. I found that almost every time it just ends up knifing me out, or I end up being completely backwards, which I got to try to study why. It's called cognitive dissonance. Okay? But let's see what we see so far, right? Just on the 1 minute. I see this upper wick that's showing signs of rejection, which is going to lead to, obviously, the break of this structure right here. Now, it's important that, okay, so that was a quick retest there. of it, but I want to see more displacement to the downside. All right, so this is what we're getting right now, is this more displacement to the downside. And then I also want to see, because I don't like to really get in before 10 a.m., guys, because there tends to be sometimes there's these manipulation moves around 10 a.m. that could just completely invalidate what's going on. So, and that's also when retail is in, right? When the market is least clear and they're really just trying to emotionally trade. And it's very key to wait for the candle close here, guys. So we've established our 15-minute low. This is essentially my strategy, is I'm just looking for range lows and highs and waiting for the range to break and waiting for a solid retest and solid evidence. So as you can see, I didn't just rush into any trade there, guys. You would have been a loser, right? So I found that most of these range breaks actually end up failing. All right, so I'd say about 80% of the time, these moves end up actually trading back up into the range. Also, most of the time when there's a failed break, it ends up coming back up to actually break the other side. So, if there's a failed break up here, it ends up actually coming back down to make an attempt down here. We have not established a 15-minute high yet. This is our 15-minute high. And let's go to a 3-minute, observe this candle structure here on a 3. As you can see, on a 3, we got actually no close. So it's important, guys, that you're on a 3-minute, because it wouldn't have tricked you to getting in there, because you can see that there was no close, even outside of the range on a 3, right? So if I just mark this little area out right there and I go back to a 1, you can see that is the lower close inside the range of the 3-minute candle. So it's important that you're using the higher time frames to confirm what's going on. It just tends to work better. So as you can see, this is why I don't just trade this blindly. As you can see, you would have easily just gotten chopped up here. We want to wait for one of these signals to be printed when the moving average is clear and everything is clear, okay? Right now, nothing is clear. So in the meantime, what I'm going to do is just set a couple of other alerts here. Just cross that there. If SPY is breaking out of the range and also below the 15-minute low. And then what I'm going to do, guys, is not just sit here paralyzed, right, and just staring at this. What I'm going to do is just go check a couple of other stocks, kind of see what's going on in the markets. You can see that Apple is trading down. It looks like potentially, let's see where our 5-minute low is. It would be right here. Let's go to a 1 just to see. 5-minute low is here. So this is what we're kind of looking for a little bit more, guys, is like the displacement to the downside and then a retest back up here to retest this. And then that's where I'd be looking to measure my short position, potentially back up to here and invalidate above that candle. Okay, if the trade comes up over this candle, I have to cut it. I have to cut it. Okay, I have to cut it. And so Apple, I liked yesterday a lot because it really, really sold off. So potentially today it could be very volatile. And I'm just waiting to see what this will do, if it'll retest. Let's go back to SPY. It seems like probably SPY is going to be trading back up to the range, just a total mess, right? So let's look at Apple here and wait for a potential signal. But as you can see, guys, the retest is happening while price is above the EMA, which is technically an invalidation, because you don't want to fight the moving average. Let me add that real quick, okay? Don't fight the moving average direction. I've lost a couple trades this week. All right, don't fight the MA. All right, just add that to your guys' chart. It really, really helped. And just make it white and so I could see it. All right, don't fight the moving average, guys. Right, so the moving average is starting to roll. Now, what I would have liked to saw is something like the moving average comes here and then rejects off here and then continues to roll back down. Okay, as you can see, this is probably going to be a fail. Let's just see what it does. I'm not going to say probably. Let's just see what it does. All right, our job isn't to predict it, it's to react when we see something occurring. Okay? Let's also get off a 1 minute, guys. I need to remind myself that to get off the 1 minute chart. And as you can see, the 3 minute, looks a little bit better as far as the structure of what's going on. But I also see that these are starting to pinch, and it could potentially, you can see on the 3 minute that the moving average would be your stop area, right? Because technically on the 3 minute, the direction is still somewhat downward and we're not above. Whereas on the 1 minute, the answer isn't as clear. All right, so you can see on Apple right now, we got the retest and we are trading down. All right, you can see how that works, guys. It works pretty well. This is the strategy right here, guys. As you can see how good it works when it's followed. All right, but also I did see this right here, dude, right here. Okay, all these imbalances right here where we could end up imbalancing in this area and then end up pushing back up into the range. But as you can see now, the moving average direction is a little more clear, whereas on the 3 minute, you get this manipulation up here where it essentially confuses you, right? And that's why I was on the 1 minute and I kind of missed this one. So as you can see, that's doing that. Excuse me, guys, I'm sorry. SPY, messy, just trading back in the range. Qs, a little different. Okay, still messy. Let's see where we can find our levels here real quick. Let's plot them. I'm getting pretty quick at being able to plot these levels. Here is our low. As you can see, we did retest on the Qs. And the moving average is pointing downwards. So this was the retest right here. And as you can see, that also does work on the Qs. That would have been like this, with that candle being our invalidation. And then also our target kind of down past those lows. We'll see if this one plays out. I didn't enter in because I also didn't see any high volume nodes. That's very important to see to indicate that this is going to continue to move lower and not just trade back up into the range. You can see the Apple one is working pretty well so far. We would be in almost in profit there. And the SPY just kind of looks like crap, honestly, right now, so I'm going to avoid that. It's a good way to lose money right now. But Apple is making a solid move to the downside. As you guys can see, this almost would have been a winner. I would probably stay in this trade until the sign told me to get out. And you can see also how the ADX is working too, and how it gave me that signal right up here at market open. I tend not to follow the one that happens at market open, but it would have worked, but it doesn't really go against my range-based strategy. So yeah, I'm just gonna wait. And obviously this one was a winner, guys. As you can see, we just hopped on once we noticed that SPY was kind of chopping around. We go look at the rest of the market and we see potentially what else is maybe following our criteria and a good way to measure our risk. Because really, it doesn't matter really what we trade, as long as we could get a good entry and we could properly measure our risk. That's what really matters the most, is measuring the risk, right? So as you can see, this is how this range-based strategy plays out right here. This would have been a great trade. Let's check on the Qs, because I noticed some weakness in the Qs, but as you can see, this is why it's important to measure your risk. And here's a second retest, guys, of the Qs. I'm not too confident in this. It's just we had a test, fail, and the moving average is still pointing down. There we go, right there, guys. You see that right there? That move down. All right, so we could have two really, really good trades. Apple just hit our take profit, so that's, that's how I find that right there. A beautiful about 3.5 to 1. I would actually probably target these lows here or this imbalance. I would have a TP1 here. Just a very quick, very, very, very tight stop, probably a close above this candle. If we start to close above this candle or this candle right here, I would look to exit. So as you can see, let's wait and see how this would have worked. Once we get the close above, one of these control candles, I think this one would probably be the one. But as you can see, when we close right above that, that's how you can tell that and also we're down here at a bullish imbalance too. So that would have been a good area to look to take profits. All right. You don't have to let the winners be massive, guys. But the key is to let the losers be tiny. If you're going to be taking small little scalps like this, 10, 15%, it's extremely important that you have these are scalps. So I've been using Robinhood, and Robinhood really is not the best for trading options on a very fast basis. We're talking 3 minutes, 5 minutes. It just doesn't work. There's so much slippage, and I wouldn't recommend it. So I'm kind of just taking a break, guys. Today's Friday, and what I'm going to do is try to move to a different broker. Yeah, the chickens. So as you can see, SPY just looks absolutely horrid right now, stuck in the range. You can see how Apple's starting to trade back up once we closed above this candle there, right, guys? So we want to be managing the position as it's in profit and kind of looking for an area that it's invalidated and not just getting emotional about taking the winner, right? That's very key, is to just try to let it go and not get emotional about fearing to lose losing the profits. I mean, the worst that could happen, guys, is you just move your stop to break even, right? Just let me get rid of this goddamn rooster, guys. Hold on a second. That thing's annoying. Sorry, guys. So as you can see how, we also saw that this ADX down here was starting to cross, right? So once we closed there, it was essentially on, right? And we would be at break even right now. So let's check the SPY. SPY is still garbage. QQQ is probably moving back into the range, or is going to be. As you can see, there's a lot of compression here on the directional index, which is showing me that we are in a range. So let's just go and mark out this range, this Garbo range right here. We don't want to be taking any trades in this range. Okay. As you can see, now that we know what's going on and we're just kind of chopping around, this is where you get chopped up. And the same thing happened yesterday, guys. Let's go to yesterday, and you guys can see what I'm talking about as far as the range. I hate with TradingView, they make it so you see what I'm talking about here, guys? The chop, right? When this is really, really tight, and how when the answer is clear, the answer is clear, right? See how we're just kind of pinned sideways on the moving average? And then when we do decide to displace, it aligns perfectly with this. Okay, once we start to break out of that high there of the ADX, that's how you know. Okay, so we also want to be plotting some of the highs and the lows of the ADX and also the DI. Qs are starting to break back down, which I am seeing. All right, so we would be looking for shorts at the upper side of the range and calls at the lower side of the range. And as you can see, we just broke We did not close above our breaker candle up here, so that's how you know to continue to stay in the trade. Or this was a possible re-entry right here. But also you can see that we are kind of bouncing. This is why you want to look for calls at the bottom of the range. Most of these range breaks end up actually failing and moving back up into the range. But sometimes, 10% of the time they do just end up rolling over. Okay? So we had the 1 retest, 2 retest, 3 retest, and then fail. So I wouldn't be surprised if this was the actual move. But like I said earlier, guys, too, you see how the calls, this is where the demand is, right? Most people would want to enter short here and try to chase this down, let alone that they know that this is going to chop back up and just stop you out, which are mistakes that I've made before, too. When you're in a chop range, the last thing you want to do is go short at the low of the range and then go long at the high of the range, right? You see how you would have got chopped up there? And the answer is not clear because we have no volume, right? We have compression, very garbage range. Let's just get rid of this and check back on SPY. Back in the range, Qs, back in the range. As you can see, this chop range right here, ugly, ugly, ugly. This is what we've been doing the past couple of days, guys, and what this is doing is probably just stealing liquidity from people like me. But we're better than that, and we're experienced. All right, we're not going to let the market makers chop us out of the market here. We're going to protect our capital, and we're going to wait for the answer to be clear. All right, so Tesla is a little bit more clear. We are starting to break out of this area, but we did see manipulation back down into the range. Okay, so this is our 945 high, so I would like to see a solid push above this and a hold and then a retest. Let's also check Tesla on a higher time frame just to kind of see what's going on. And as you can see, we are approaching this area up here of reversal. So that was a key area, this 429.50, 430 area. Let's just round it up to 430 because that's where it's at. So as you can see too, guys, the momentum of Tesla is going up. The ADX is spreading, and it's looking like it wants to break the high here, which it may. And we also have a lot of bullish volume in Tesla. I like the momentum in Tesla today. But as you can see, we are double topping there. Let's just see what we can do. Let me open it up. It is after 10 a.m. now, guys, so potentially a trade could be taken. Let's just go to Tesla real quick and see what the options look like. It already is up 3% today. And the options on Tesla are just ridiculously expensive. Like $1,300. Like, who is paying that for a January 24th expiration? Like, honestly, like, it's ridiculous. The IV or whatever, or what the price of Tesla options are absolutely crazy right now. I mean, you're gonna have to be far out of the money for our account size. We can't trade Tesla yet. That sucks. But here it is. This is Tesla breaking out. As you can see, the cup. We filled the cup, and we'll probably get some type of handle and then potentially a move back to the upside. So what I want to see here, guys, is I just want to focus and observe what I see. Okay, what I see is I see a cup, actually a beautiful cup, and this is really, really nice price action right here. The leg, cup, fill the cup, and then we should have a retest. The direction of the moving average, we would not be fighting. We had the bullish nodes. This is what we want to see. All right. And we also want to see in 2 minutes what this candle looks like right here, because we don't want to be making decisions on the 1 minute. All right, because the 1 minute tends to be too noisy. All right, and the more noise I saw, the harder it is to stick to your rules. All right, so I found that the 2 and 3 minute time frame tend to be the best for me. This could be a very, very tight trade right here. I'm really liking this. I would probably have my stop right at the close of that candle and then set my TP right up here at 430. All right, let's just see how this plays out. We're going to be doing hypothetical trades mainly today just to kind of get our confidence back up, to practice allowing the market to show us what's going on instead of trying to guess what's going to happen. So we'll see what Tesla does here. I mean, that was kind of a good retest, but I would not be surprised if we kind of got more of a retest as we are starting to come and pinch here. The ADX is working very well. I custom made this indicator. Let's go back to Qs and see what's going on there. Still in a chop range. SPY potentially coming back up to break the 15-minute high here, guys. Let's keep an eye on SPY. There we go. I'm not really seeing any bullish volume. That was our bullish volume right there. So we'll want to see some type of node bigger than that. There's our alert. Just got triggered. I don't like that the Qs are chopping though, and SPY really isn't. But here you go. Tesla's moving. Let's see if this trade would have been a winner. It's moving. We already be pretty much in profit. Very, very little drawdown. Right now, my risk would be off the table. Okay. Once you know that the trade is a winner, guys, take the risk off the table. All right. Just let it go. Let it go. And I feel like once you take the risk off the table, that's going to allow you just to kind of hold it. And if it does reverse, you won't lose. You won't lose any money. All right. This thing should slam our TP. Let's see if it does. I'm going to check back with it in a couple of minutes. Let's go back and look at Apple and see what's going on with Apple. As you guys can see, once we got the close, we are starting to invalidate up here. All right, so you can see why this is so key to be on a higher time frame. Because once you saw this right here, the close back into the range, you could have got out. All right, and that's going to protect you and tell you, okay, we're probably going to be trading back into the range now. And it's just been kind of garbage ever since. All right, let's check back on the heat map. What's going on there? Intel is moving today. NVIDIA is moving today. Let's check on Intel. See what's going on there. Pretty much garbage. You see that chop? Let's check NVIDIA. What's going on with NVIDIA so I can spot anything clean. I do see the direction of the moving average is pretty clear. Upward momentum. Let's go on to a 3. Pretty solid upward momentum here on NVIDIA. It's looking like it's almost like parabolic, to be honest with you. Look at that. Very solid momentum on NVIDIA. But it does not look like it would have offered us a clean trade. Okay, this is a... Let's just see. Let's mark it out for you guys to see how I do this, okay? So this is our 45. This is our 45 high and then our 35, all right? And as you can see, this was not a good trade because we really didn't get any clean retest up out of here. And the volume nodes were kind of... This is where I would have entered, actually, right here. This was potentially a better retest for a long, right on this candle right here. It's going to be a little bit of a wider stop on this. And then what I'll do is I'll go to a 15-minute and then kind of see where a potential take profit area is. An area where we rejected, possibly right up into here, 138. We are starting to move into this thin structure up here. So that's where I would, and this is a thin structured area up here, so that's a huge, no, wait, that's way too big. That's where I would have it right there, about a 4-to-1. If this can continue to move up, I would set my stop there. And once I already know that this is about halfway into profit, I would take my risk off the table and just let it run. Just let it run. And you don't want to cut it early, all right? You want to cut losers early, not a winner, right? So the Qs, check on the Qs. Looks like we're breaking out of this range. And as you guys can see, this was invalidated right here. SPY. Garbo price action. Immediately we trade it. You see how these range breaks most of the time end up failing? And, there's a counterintuitive strategy where you could actually, take trades against this range break, but I tend to like the momentum because like I said, you're back in a range, so the trade inside the range is kind of garbage anyway, so that's why I don't do that. Let's look at Tesla again, see if it hit our take profit, and we'd still be in the trade. No problem. I'm thinking that it's going to hit 430, guys. We're at 429. It could potentially reject here. I would start to look for areas where to take profit. If we start to close back below this candle right here on the 1 minute, you don't want to make decisions on the 1 minute. You just kind of want to use it for areas to look and to mark out levels. Like if we start to close back below there, I would probably look to maybe cut the trade. But we could also come all the way down and retest and hold. Let's just ignore this and see what it does, and we'll come back to it later, guys. We'll come back to it later. I didn't mean to do that. Back to SPY. You can see that, after 10 a.m., not really many good trades today. There was a lot of momentum yesterday, so I was kind of guessing that this was going to kind of chop around all day today. And the only high volume node that we had on Apple was here. I'm not really seeing anything here. It seems like we're kind of pinned sideways on the moving average. I'm also going to work on an indicator this weekend, guys, of potentially trying to figure out a way to get this moving average line to show me like a menu of, okay, if it's moving down or if it's moving sideways or if it's moving up. All right. I'm going to try to work on that. It's important to be creative in the markets, guys. If you find something that you think that may work, just try it. Try engineering what your idea is. I do see that Lily is down today, which is one that I've traded before. Let's check out the price action. Pretty garbage. Just garbage price action today. And if I give it till like 10:30, guys, I'm not really going to probably take a trade because moves may happen later in the day. But they're not following my strategy, and I need to stick to a strategy long term that's going to actually work. And that's my range-based strategy. And as you can see, Tesla was a winner. Beautiful. You don't cut it yet, guys. Now, okay, so once it's pushing like this, right? You want to stay in, all right? Don't just cut it because you're scared that you're going to lose your profits, all right? Now you move your invalidation point higher. You trail your psychological stop higher. Now we lock that in, right? Now if we start to close below, all right, look how we're pushing, guys. Look how this would have been a great trade. Just a great trade. I'm glad that we saw this, guys, so that you can see how I do it. And I found this trade. And like I said, when the answer is clear, the market will move in your favor. Look at this. It's just pushing, guys. You see how we had the cup? You see how we came and closed the cup? And then we didn't even look back. We just pushed. Like, we had that one little retest. And the reason why I would have got in on this momentum trade is because of these volume nodes. Okay, you can see the obvious volume nodes right there, right at the break. You've got to see that, guys. You've got to see that, all right? So, yes, we did find an area, and I would put my sell order there at my initial area of risk to reward. Okay, but if this thing wants to run higher, I'm gonna let it run higher. Okay, I'm gonna be moving my stop as it goes patiently, and I'm gonna stick to my plan. But if it wants to run higher, I'm gonna give it the ability to run higher. Okay, and like I said, guys, this was a winner very early on, and it's a risk-free trade. Psychologically, that's gonna allow you to be. You're not worrying about it retracing back down and you losing money and being wrong. And I feel like that feeling is what causes traders to make a lot of bad choices, right? But as you can see, this was just an absolutely beautiful setup. We had the cup, we had the closing of the cup in the strong break on the high volume node, and we're just continuing to rock it, right? So, yeah, that's Tesla. We missed that one because the options are absolutely ridiculously priced. That's really the only one I'm seeing, guys, is on Tesla. Even though we didn't take a trade on it, that's okay because we're practicing getting better at following our rules. As you can see, I just took no trades on this. This is a mess. I don't like this. All right, I could easily tell that this was gonna be a mess. All right, you can see the failed brakes, no volume on the brakes. Like, it's just a mess. All right, you can see the difference between something like SPY and then something like Tesla. Right, the answer is clear here. Right, this is spreading. That's obviously spreading. Right, we're getting increasing volume on the brake, and the small little retest not even closing below, and then we just ran, guys. Look at that. All right, so I would be moving my stop up here to the next invalidation point, which would be a close up there. So we did lock even more profits in. You see how we did that? We're letting our winners go and cutting our losers early. Okay, all right, that's how we do it, guys. So our initial TP was right there, but we're going to continue to hold this because it's still a winning position. We don't want to cut a winner quickly. All right, the moving average is still up. All right, you see how we find our invalidation points. Now if we start to trade back down here and we close, then I'd cut the trade. Okay, because I'm looking for points of invalidation, guys. That's what I'm doing. I'm letting the market show me and give me the data minute by minute. I'm not assuming what's going to happen or getting scared or letting my emotions take effect of what's going on. I'm letting the market show me and letting it do its thing, guys. You know, this is how you actually become successful in this, is by following your rules and letting the market show you what it wants to do and not fighting it, right? Look how clear, right? Look how clear the moving average is here on Tesla versus something like SPY, right? It's just pinned like garbage. You don't even know what it's doing. Like, even if this does break, I'm just not going to take it. It's just not clear. This is a no trade day. Okay? You're going to have these days, guys. And that's okay. All right, so you can see once we close there, as you can see, we're going to start to possibly come back down. And that's where I would have cut the trade right there, most likely. This was a solid setup. I'm glad you guys got to see my process. I'm going to go live the rest of my life, all right? The life isn't all about the markets. It's important to have clarity and have balance in this so that you come back the next day ready to follow your rules. All right, guys, I appreciate you. Today is Friday, January 17th. I hope that you have a good rest of your day, and good luck.